All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Sorry for being about a minute late. We just got done with our outdoor rehearsal, and we are here in the sanctuary, and I'm so excited to be with you. So great to, I'm glad you tell me where you're from. The Wilds of Reston. Yeah, great. Oh, hello, everybody. Let me get situated here. So great to have everyone here. I'll be right back. All right. All right. Well, good evening, folks. Here I am, Ruth. I know it's such a crazy schedule, which next week we'll condense the schedule a little bit, which will be great. I'm looking forward to that. And so we'll have a little bit more time to be together, and you'll get to be with the folks outside. We're going to re-enter our hybrid phase of everything, but I'm mostly just excited to be here with you all for this evening. Now, tonight's agenda is really to finish cleaning up, finish working out the notes of the Requiem. Now, this week is gloriously my spring break for school and my task for the week. And this is, I promise you, this is like my type of vacation, is to finish making your tracks. And so you are going to get some tracks of the Offertory movement starting this week. I'll email those to you all to record those opening and closing sections. So tonight, we know we've worked super hard on that, so we're not going to spend a ton of time, but we will review those pitches. We'll finish learning the In Paradisum, and then we'll go after other little things, some other little things in the music that you might want some extra time on. So this could be your night. At some point, I'll ask if there are any sections or any movements of the piece that you would like to work on. So that could be your time to shine. If there's burning questions, burning parts of the music that you've been wanting to work on, get those up in your brain, and at one point, about halfway through rehearsal, I'll invite you all to submit those, and we'll just hit those measures one by one. But most importantly, it's just great here to be with you all. And I'm going to take a swig of water, and let's warm up. Now, I really want to do a nice warm-up today. So, as I've been working on the Fauré Requiem with all of you in person, outdoors and stuff, one thing I think it is one of the most enjoyable pieces of music to sing. I think Fauré wrote for the voice so beautifully. And he wrote for the voice, in my opinion, in a really specific way. He wrote so that anyone can sing this music as easily as possible. And what I mean by that is that to sing this music in the lightest, easiest form of your voice, that you're not trying to sound like anyone else. You're not trying to sound like a boys' choir. You're not trying to sound, you just need to sound like yourself. And so let's do a little easy warm-up to sort of get ourselves there. So let's just start with some humming. Can we sing as easy as you can go? Like you're waking up in the morning. Maybe chew a little bit. Just to get resonating. Going down. Two more. One more. Nice. Good. Let's now sing a little bit of Nivu, Nivu, Ni. 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 As easy as you can sing. Nivu, Nivu, Ni. 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 Very nice. All right, now nice and light. Let's get our agility going. Can we sing hip, hip, ho 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 ho. Hip hip ho 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 ho. Hip hip 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 ho. One more. Hip hip ho. Everyone give a nice sigh. Whee! Good job. All right, now let's end with our favorite exercise. The reason I love to sing is it gets us using our whole range. Sometimes when we get into warm-ups, we can get tight. Sometimes warm-ups are in this very short range. And the beautiful thing about I love to sing, it's a beautiful little octave for us that allows us just to let our voices soar and to sing with as much body and breath as possible. I'm going to fix my posture. Why don't you fix your posture and let's go. I love to sing. 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 Everyone go, whee! Good. All right. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of all the different stuff we want to work on tonight, I want to just start by getting our brains and our voices singing. And let's start with the first movement. So everyone go to movement 1. I'll give you 2 seconds to get there. Movement 1 of the Requiem. Movement 1 of the Requiem. Let me pull up my little monitor I do of us because I just want to make sure that you all see me and everything and nothing goes down. All right, fantastic. There I am. All right, movement 1. All right. Here we go from the top. So these are the starting pitches. Be as musical as you can. That's your assignment. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and. Here we go, everybody. One. Marvelous, everybody. Oh, this is just the best music. I love it. I love it so much. All right. And while we're here, let's also review the offertory. Offertory, everyone ready for the offertory? Now, I have 2 tips for you for trying to master the offertory. The first tip I'd give you is to keep the steady 8th note on you. Because that is really what's going to lock you in, especially on those quarter notes that are tied to 8th notes. I really think that those are the hard parts. You know, like right there. Those quarter notes tied to 8th notes, they always throw us rhythmically when we're in this very wordy, mushy text, right? So that's the first thing I would do. And the second thing I would do is to just really try to let your ear fall into place. I know that I sometimes mess up the pitches. I know sometimes it can be hard to hear, but it does sort of make sense. Don't fight it. And then we sort of go along with it. So let's start at the very beginning. Here's the very beginning. Again, you're going to get tracks for this week. Again, about halfway through rehearsal, at 6:30, I'm going to be asking for trouble spots. So if in our run through of this, you go, I got it completely lost, I still can't count that one part, mark it, and we'll go back and do that in the second half of rehearsal. All right, here we go. Here's the intro. So mysterious, so obscure. And alto. Now we're together. And alto. We're together. Rest. Rest. And. And off. Beautiful, everybody. Fantastico. All right. Now let's skip to the end. So again, if you had some slip-ups there, some things that got you, mark them, write them down. And then when we have our special time of getting some spots checked at the end of rehearsal, we'll go over that. So now we're going to measure for me, it's page 18, measure 77, where we're in 4 parts. Now, when you get these tracks from me, we're going to leave out the baritone solos. So there's not 8 years of rest in between. So when you get your tracks, you're going to have the first section. Then there will be a pause in the recording, and then you'll do the second section. Okay, so it will, and I'll do exactly how it will start. It will start with this D major chord that will go 1 and 2 and 3. And one more thing, when I make these tracks this week, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to put a metronome in there. Some of you will love this, some of you will hate this, but I think it's going to help us for this movement. So I'm going to put a little click in there so to keep you going as we go along in this movement. All right, make sound good, everybody? All right, here we go. This is measure 77, all right? And so what you're going to get when you hear the recording is you're going to hear this D major chord that will go 1 and 2 and right? That's what it will be. Okay? All right. We're in there. All right. Let's do it. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Here we go. Ready? And 1 and 2 and sing. Let's do them all again. Let's do that again. I'll play the right notes. Here we go. Starting in 77. Here we go. 1 and 2 and bass. Ready, and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's do that section one more time because I know it's such a traditionally tricky one. Let's start in 77. Measure 7-7. Then we'll do the in paradisum, and then we'll have our question and answer time. All right. Measure 7-7. 77. Here we go. Again, steady beat. Feel that 8th note underneath you the whole time, and that will root you in it. All right, let's do it, folks. Here we go. Measure 77 one more time to the end, doing your best. I'm proud of you, making notes of where little note sections you want done. Here we go, 77. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Very nice, everybody. Good work. All right, now let's go learn a little bit. So again, you're thinking of all your spots you want me to hit at the end of this. We'll do individual parts. But let's all go to the last movement, the In Paradisum. In Paradisum. This is one of my, this is the name of our concert. And, every time I conduct this piece, I get to this movement. And I think I mentioned this last week. To me, it's the most amazing way to end a major work in really, really relative simplicity, right? You have this beautiful motif in the harp or in the organ, depending on how you're doing it. With a unison soprano note. And then the sopranos sing this almost aria, this very beautiful, easy, breezy aria. And then they get to measure 21, and the tenors and basses come in with these sturdy chords. These sort of amazing chords. And, we sing about the New Jerusalem, right? We sing about, that's what this whole movement is about, right? Is this revelation texts that are in this area. And I like to think of that the sopranos are the angels, right? And, what were angels? They were messengers. The sopranos are these amazing messengers coming to tell us about this good news, tell us about the world, tell us about something changing. And that when the tenors and basses come in, and then the altos, you are the walls being built. You are the earth coming up and surrounding folks. You are that new tomorrow being born. And that's what that is. It happens twice in this piece. And I think that's exactly what's happening. So let's do a little review. Then we'll work the first section, and then we'll go back. So here we go. In Paradiso. Here we go, soprani. Let's pause there and take that apart. Can we start with sopranos? Sopranos, I think it gets a little tricky when you get to pick up to measure 12. Pick up to measure 11. So can sopranos go to measure 11, pick up to measure 11? In the text is in tuo adventu suscipiate matere. Now, the word that always gets folks is suscipiant. And again, the trick with this is we don't want it to be marcato. We don't want it to be suscipiat. We want suscipiante. Very blurry, very legato. So can we pick up to measure 11, just soprani, please? Here we go. 1 and 2. Going on, sopranos. Keep going, sopranos. Very nice. Now, Measure 2-1, measure 21. Measure 21, can I hear the tenors and basses? Measure 21, tenors and basses. Jane, you're always welcome. Never worry about being like, good. Measure 21, tenors and basses. All right. Yeah, basses, tenor, soprano, tenor 1. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Now, altos, let's hear your little part. So, altos, starting at measure 26, you go 1, 2. Yeah. Good. So, can we all start? Pick up to measure 21 now. Pick up to measure 21, all parts. Here we go. Yeah. Here goes soprani. 1 and 2, soprano, start. Yeah, yeah. Alto, yeah. Soprano, yeah. Off. Good. Turn the page. Let's learn the second part. Let's learn the end of this wonderful, wonderful piece. Now, let's go over this text first and foremost. So, soprani, chorus. We're starting in measure 31. We're in Paradisum if you just joined us. So, measure 31, we sing chorus angelorum te suscipiat. I'll say that again. Chorus angelorum te suscipiat. Et cum Lazaro quandam paupere. I'll say that again. Et cum Lazaro quandam paupere. Et cum Lazaro quandam paupere. And then starting in measure, I believe it is 45, you sing Aeternam habeas, no H in Italian 8 Latin. Aeternam habeas requiem. And we sing that text to the end. So, sopranis, let's give a little read to let's sing this. This is one of the most beautiful lines ever. Here we go. Ready, sopranis? 1, 2, 3. Bravo. So now let's look at measure 47 where the other voice parts come in. So bass, you are measure 47 now. Bass, baritone, tenor 2, tenor 1, alto, soprano, requiem. 1, 2, 3. Off. Bravo. Now turn the page. Sopranos even. So sopranis, pick up to 52. Sopranos, now pick up to 52. Here's your part. On the words aeternam. Here we go. 1 and 2. Bravo. And everyone else, pick up to 53. Pick up to 53. We are alti. Pick up to measure 53. Alti. Altos. Pick up to measure 53. 1 and 2. Great. Now tenors. Eterna. Pick up the measure 53. 1 and 2. Now basses, pick up to 53. 1 and 2. Everybody now, all the way back to measure 31. Measure all the way back to measure 31. Okay, back to measure 31. What's amazing is look at Et cum Lazaro. It's suddenly so mysterious. You know, something so mysterious about the story of Lazarus, the idea of coming back from the dead. Very, very spooky, very mysterious, very powerful. All right, measure 31, Chorus Angelorum. It's fun to say, right? You're going to go around all week walking up to people with your mask on and going, Chorus Angelorum. I love it. There you go. Chorus Angelorum. And like we talked about in our warm-up today, Sopranos, the goal with this section is not to sound like a little choir boy or to sound like an opera singer. The goal is to sound like yourself. Sound your most natural and beautiful self. This will come together and sing when everyone is just singing with the easiest, most pretty, beautiful voice. And if we all do that, it will all come out exactly how I think Fore would want it. All right, Chorus Angelorum. Here's somebody 1 and 2 and 3. To the ending. Here we go, Sopranos 1 and 2. Everybody. And just disappear. It's the best ending. I just love that end of that piece. It's such beautiful music. All right, folks. Now is the time. So there's always a little bit of a delay in between when I say something here on the live stream, but it is now time for you to in the chat, or I guess on Facebook, or open that. Yes, Ruth, just fade to nothing at the end, just complete as if we were never there, or the angels have flown away. Great question. So yes, give me your questions. Give me your questions. All right. All right. So I'll wait here. I'm going to go. If you look at my latest post, maybe the one where I said I'd be live in a few minutes here on Facebook, that'd be a good one for y'all to go and comment. But send me your sections that get you. Carol, great question. When do we close to the M in the last measure? I would say just as you cut off. And again, if you cut off early, we're going to fade to nothing. We almost don't want to hear the M. So I think of something like this. If it was me singing it and I sang, now, if we were in person and I was there, I would eventually give a cutoff and then you could do a beautiful M. But in this case, I just want you to sing either until the movement ends, and you hear this, and then put a little M on it, or just the fade out when your breath fades out. Again, it feels silly when you're in your home doing it by yourself, but together, I think it will be amazing. I hope that answers your question. So no real M, just completely fading into oblivion at the end of this piece for me. I like the strings even to decrescendo to the point where it's just completely off. All right, so send in your sections. If not, I will just go back, and there's plenty of stuff we can do. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to go to ask your queries. I should have printed out the sheet music for the Jeopardy theme song, right? Because I have to wait for this in between. Anyway, I'm not good. All right. Great. Carol, what movement are you talking about? All right, thank you, Nancy. I'll go and get that. And it would help if you put your voice part in there too. So alto, such and such as well. So first, oh, I love this. Oh, I love when everything's coming in. Oh, okay, great. So Carol, measure 31, 32, the words are chorus angelorum. That's what I have. It might be different between different parts. Chorus angelorum. Chorus angelorum. And I'll throw that in the chat too. It's spelled like this in case. Oh, rhythm. Okay. Yes. All right. So the rhythmic chorus angelorum. Everyone do this way. Everyone say call. So we're in paradisum, measure 31, and then we'll go to those. All right. So measure 31. This is the rhythm in paradisum. Chorus angelorum. Everyone speak that with me. 1, 2, and 3. Chorus angelorum. Let's do that one more time. One more time, speaking the rhythm at 31, and then we'll get to these offertory sections. 1, and 2, and 3. Chorus angelorum. Now can we sing that? 1, and 2, and 3. Chorus angelorum. Did that help? I hope that helps. Very good. All right. Now to the offertory, which I assumed. All right. Can we all go? Let's go back to the offertory. I love this. Thank you all for bringing your questions. This is just makes this so much more interactive. All right. Offertory, let's start at the beginning. So we have a lot of folks that want the ending, which I completely understand. It's so tricky. Yes. All right. So we will do the whole end of the offertory here in a second, and we'll key in on these couple moments. But let's start back in the beginning of the offertory. So could everyone find measure 23? Because this section I know is tricky too. Measure 20, sort of measure 21 to 23. Ne absorbeatarus. I see where we are. Very good. All right, let's actually start. So this is the last time I'll tell you. So we both, Jan, your question, and Judy, your question can be answered starting in measure 9. Pick up to measure 19. So the tenors and altos have the same rhythm here. So can we speak the rhythm? Starting at De ore leonis. This is pick up to measure 19. De ore leonis. Everyone ready? Speaking the rhythm. 1, and 2, and 3, and go. De ore leonis. Ne absorbeatarus. O Domine. Now, let me point out the couple different parts there. So, measure 9, pick up to measure 19. We sang De ore leonis. So get your cutoff. The S goes on beat 4, and you see how I rhythmatize that? Then that quarter rest that follows is going to feel really long. All right. So that's also what throws us at measure 20. So rest, rest. So in measure 22, that rus, you have to think rus. So the first eighth rest, you put the S on. The second eighth rest, you breathe. Rus. And if you rhythmize it that way, it will help you. So let's now do the altos alone, because that was a request from Judy, and then we'll go to the end. So can we start with, these are such important spots, especially as you're going to be recording this in the coming weeks. So important to get it down. So pick up to measure 19, altos alone. Here we go. Altos, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Rest, rest. Breathe. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps a little bit. And Jan, tenor line, great. So now let's, while we're here, measure 23 tenors. Measure 23 tenors. Here we go, measure 23 tenors. So tenors, you have, this is your starting note you come in on. And here's measure 23, 1 and 2. Jesu Christe ex gloriae, o Domine, Jesu Christe. Let's do that one more time, tenors. One more time, measure 23. And so what happens before you come in, tenors, is all this junk. Jesu Christe ex gloriae, o Domine, Jesu Christe. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Okay, now let's go. Let's put all that stuff together. Byron, breathe wherever you can. Preferably, we don't want any breaths, but I think breathing. Measure 19, Bray. Yeah, definitely just try to breathe there. Definitely breathe before de ore. If that's your question, then yes. All right, everybody, now pick up to measure 19. Counting, keeping your steady beat. You got this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Rest, rest. Breathe. Let's finish it out. So yes, I know that probably didn't fix everything, but I hope that helps just to keep solidifying it. Again, it's going to be easier when you have tracks. So thank you all so much. We'll keep working on that little section. Who knew that 4 measures could be so tricky? All right. Well, we all did. We're in this together. All right. Let's now go to the end. So can everyone go with me? It seems that most of our issues at the end start in that section that in the end of the offertory. Start in the 70s. So Oh, yes, a couple things. So let's start. I want to start actually with Carlton's point. How to keep in sync for the tenors. Tenors, this is a really wild part. So Carlton brings up a good point. So tenors, look at your entrance at measure 77. You come in on and Carlton mentions one good aural cue you could have is to wait for the altos. And then you all begin to duet together. That's a very, very, very important part there. And so Carlton, great help. So tenors, that's a great idea. Now, the other thing you can do, tenors, is tap out 4 eighth notes on yourself. But I think waiting on the altos is also a good idea. So bravo, good idea. Now, altos. Let's do your part, shall we? Let's take it apart. Altos alone. And let's just do the whole line. I think part of the problem, altos, it's so easy to get lost, right? In this section, it's like once you get one note off, you feel like you just got to throw your hands in the air. But I do think there are some important points that you can sort of lock into. But let's start in measure 78 altos, and we'll get into that tricky section, 80 to 84 territory. But I think getting into it is tricky. So altos alone, measure 78 when they come in. Measure 78 altos. Here you go, alti. Ready, alti? 3 and 4 and 1. Now, altos, as I'm reading this here with you, I think I know what one of the problems is. So altos, let's look at measures 80 through 84, where many of you put down that was a section you wanted to work on. And then, Mia, we'll get to the sopranos. Altos, one of the things that's tricky about this section is you have a lot of accidentals, so a lot of sharps and naturals and flats. And as a music reader, that tends to really freak us out. But I mean, for a minute, I want you to now look at your music, and I just want you to listen. Right? It's all like little scales. And I think if you just sort of allow yourself to not be so stressed by looking at all those flats and sharps, but rather follow your ear, follow the flow of the music, I think that might help you stay on. I just know it's always going to be a tricky spot. Let's do that one more time, altos, and then Mia will get to the sopranos starting in 79 in that area. So altos 78. Here we go. Ready? 3 and 4 and 1. Very nice. Now, sopranis. Now, Mia, to your point, starting in measures 82 to 87. Now, one thing I think that causes us to get off sopranos, I want you to look here with me before we even start reading it. Go to measure 83. Go to measure 83, sopranos. Look at that long half note. You have to really feel that downbeat in measure 84, because if you're late to moving to that and of beat 1, you're going to be late for the whole thing. It's, again, very similar to altos. It's one of those systems where you're going to go completely off course. All right. So that is the trick. So let's start at 79 sopranos. And when we get there, let's really hone in on that. Here we go. Here we go, soprani. 3 and 4 and 1. Here we go. 1 and 2 and go. That help? All right, so now let's do this all together. So thank you for your great comments about the offertory. It's the hardest movement of the piece. But we're going to master it. You get tracks this week. You'll love it. All right, let's do this, and then we'll do one more movement to end our night. But let's do the ending of it. So let's all begin in measure 77. Measure 7-7. And let's just see if we can make it through, myself included. Here we go. Measure 77. Here we go. And here we go. Here's the downbeat. 1 and 2 and bass. Here we go. Here we go. And you'll cut off right on beat 2 there, and we'll let the orchestra linger. Beautiful job, everybody. One more movement tonight. Let's go to the Agnus Dei, all right? And even if we mess up the Agnus Dei, let's just sing through it because it's just so beautiful, all right? And then next week, we'll hone in on the Agnus Dei parts. All right, better, yeah. It's a hard movement. It even when you're with, you know when it starts to make sense, though? Funny enough, it's one of those pieces that if we had an orchestra with us, we'd do it, because the beautiful thing is the strings are doubling your parts. So I would put you all right next to, the altos would be right next to the violas, and the altos would have the viola really playing their part for him, and that's the helpful thing. Yes, George, I'm going to try to do a big rallotando at the end in the recording. That's my goal. I know I've not been great about slowing down in recordings because it's tricky, but I'm going to make it happen. All right, Agnus Dei, my dear friends, and then we'll call it a night. Here we go. Right at the top. Everyone's a tenor. Here we go. And 1, 2, here we go. Agnus. Tenors. Agnus Dei, right, measure 75, just like the beginning. 2, 3, go. And 1. And all right, so whether you sang every note right or you just sang with spirit, I'm so happy to sing with you all tonight and to be there. So next week, we'll be back here at 6 o'clock. I'll probably be outdoors with the webcam on me, but that's exciting because we get to start our move back to our little hybrid form of rehearsing. So we're all kind of together all at once, which is just like makes my heart warm, makes me so happy. So again, be on the lookout this week for tracks. Be on the lookout for tracks for me for the offertory. Yeah, George and Byron, I'll have a little ritardando at the end of those pieces, and that'll be great. But again, thank you all so much for being you, for sticking in there. I hope you stay healthy. I hope you stay well, and I hope you have amazing weeks, and I'll see you on Sunday. All right, bye, my friends. See you.